Let's be honest with ourselves for a moment. How many times have you found yourself staring at your phone, waiting for a message that you know deep down is never going to come? How many nights have you lost replaying memories, trapped in an exhausting loop of what ifs and should I's? Should I text them one more time? Should I just block them and try to forget? Do they even care at all? This cycle of anxious waiting and desperate questioning is a form of self-inflicted torment. Yet it is a path so many of us walk when faced with rejection or distance. The instinct is to act, to do something to close the gap or end the pain. We believe that if we just try hard enough, we can fix what's broken. This leads us to three common yet fundamentally flawed solutions: chasing, begging, and blocking. But here is the hard truth that you need to accept right now. None of these actions give you the outcome you truly desire. Chasing doesn't bring them back. It only pushes them further away. It communicates neediness and a lack of self-worth, making you less attractive in the process. It's like trying to catch a butterfly in your fist. The harder you squeeze, the more certain you are to crush it or make it flee. Begging is even worse. It strips you of your dignity and makes you look desperate, handing all of your personal power over to the other person. And blocking? While it might provide a moment of perceived control, it's often just a way of masking your own pain. It's a dam you build to hold back a flood of emotions, but the pressure continues to build behind it. Blocking is a reaction to their power over you, not an assertion of your own. There is another way, a more powerful, more dignified, and ultimately more effective path. This path is not about playing mind games or using manipulative tactics to get a desired response. It is a fundamental shift in your energy, your mindset, and your focus. The greatest power you have in this situation is not in noise, action, or desperate pleas. It is in silence. But this is not an angry, punitive silence designed to punish them. It is a calm, strong, and dignified silence that comes from a place of profound self-respect. It is a silence that says, "My peace is more important than your attention." The moment you stop running after them, the moment you cease all efforts to get them to see your worth, the entire dynamic shifts. You are no longer the one being acted upon. You become the one who chooses. You are no longer the one waiting for a text. You are the one living your life. This is not about making them come back, although that can sometimes be an unexpected side effect. The true goal is far more important. This is about you taking back complete control of your own emotional state and your own existence. In this video, we are not going to offer you superficial tricks or psychological games. We are going to walk you through 10 life-changing lessons rooted in the timeless wisdom of Stoicism. These are principles that will allow you to navigate this painful situation and move forward with a sense of peace, unwavering strength, and profound self-respect. We will explore how to accept reality instead of fighting it, how to master your emotions instead of being controlled by them, and how to use your silence not as a weapon of passive aggression, but as a clear and undeniable sign of your own inner strength. This journey is about turning one of the most painful human experiences, rejection, into a catalyst for your own personal transformation. It's about learning that the solution is not to convince them of your value, but to become so grounded in your own value that their opinion becomes irrelevant. If you are ready to stop the futile cycle of chasing and start the empowering journey of self-reclamation, then stay with me. It's time to learn how to stand still and watch what happens. Let's begin. Your journey to reclaiming your power begins not with an action directed at them, but with a profound and fundamental internal shift. Before you can effectively use silence or indifference, you must first build a new foundation within your own mind. This foundation rests on two crucial pillars of Stoic thought that will change how you perceive your situation: radical acceptance and powerful detachment. The first pillar is acceptance. You must accept reality instead of constantly fighting it. Life rarely goes exactly as we plan. Rejection, betrayal, or an unexpected breakup can feel like the end of the world. But the Stoics teach that it is our resistance to reality, not the event itself, that causes the deepest pain. As the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius wrote, You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Instead of wishing things were different, or begging them to stay, or blocking them in a fit of anger, the first and most powerful step is to simply accept what has happened. To be perfectly clear, acceptance does not mean approval. You do not have to approve of their actions or condone the situation. Acceptance is the conscious choice to prioritize your own peace over the ongoing suffering of resistance. It is looking at the painful truth of the situation and deciding that you will no longer waste your precious energy fighting a battle with the past. Imagine you are carrying a heavy bag filled with rocks. Each rock represents a painful emotion: anger, regret, obsession, and a desperate attachment to what you've lost. You can continue to drag this heavy bag with you everywhere you go, exhausting yourself in the process, or you can make a conscious decision to simply let it go and drop the bag. The moment you do, you feel lighter. That feeling is acceptance. It is your first taste of true freedom, and the sooner you embrace it, the sooner you reclaim your power. The second pillar is detachment. Many people fear this word because they believe it means becoming cold, emotionless, or uncaring. This is a fundamental misunderstanding of the Stoic ideal. True detachment is not about shutting down your emotions. It is about mastering them. It is the strength to feel things deeply without being controlled by those feelings. When you become overly attached to another person, you tie your happiness directly to their actions, their words, and their presence. This effectively gives them complete power over your emotional well-being. Detachment is the process of severing those strings and reclaiming your power. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca wisely said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Much of our pain comes not from their absence itself, but from the obsessive stories and catastrophic futures we imagine in our minds because of that absence. Think of a powerful river. The water represents your emotions: love, sadness, anger, all flowing constantly. Being overly attached is like being thrown into that river, tossed around and swept away by every current and every wave. You are completely at the mercy of the flow. Detachment, in contrast, is learning how to stand firmly on the riverbank. From there, you can watch the emotions pass. You can acknowledge their power, their beauty, and their danger. But you are not carried away by them. This stable position allows you to love without losing yourself and to care without breaking when things change. When you stop clinging so tightly to people and outcomes, you create space. You make room for better things, better people, and better experiences to flow into your life. Acceptance stops your war with reality. Detachment puts you back in control of your emotional state. Together, they form the unshakable foundation upon which all true strength is built. It is from this grounded place that your silence becomes powerful, not because it's a tactic to win them back, but because it is a genuine reflection of your newfound inner peace and self-respect. Once you have laid the firm foundation of acceptance and detachment, your focus must pivot. All the energy you were once pouring into them, the energy spent on obsessive thoughts, on rereading old messages, on waiting, on chasing, is now a powerful resource at your disposal. This reclaimed energy must now be redirected to the most important project you will ever undertake in your life: the rebuilding and rediscovery of your own identity. Losing a significant person can often feel like losing a part of yourself. This painful feeling forces us to confront a difficult but essential question. Were you truly a complete and whole person on your own? Or were you subconsciously relying on them to fill the gaps within your own identity? This question is not about blame or shame. It is about radical self-honesty. This moment of loss, as painful as it is not merely an ending. It is a profound and rare opportunity to discover who you truly are when you are not defined by another person. The Stoic philosopher Seneca gave a powerful directive for moments precisely like this. He advised us to start living immediately and consider each day as a separate life. This is your new mandate. Your primary task is not to mourn what was, but to actively build what can be. The time for obsessing over their absence is over. Now is the time to explore the parts of yourself that may have gone dormant during the relationship. You must actively explore new passions, learn new skills you've always been curious about, or reconnect with old dreams that were put on the shelf? Did you stop painting? Did you stop hiking? Did you stop spending time with your own circle of friends? Now is the time to reclaim those pieces of your identity. Each new activity you try, each old hobby you revisit, is another brick you lay in the foundation of a stronger, more independent self. The source text uses a powerful metaphor for this process. Imagine you are a sculptor, and your life is a block of marble, a masterpiece in progress. The act of someone leaving your life is not an act of destruction. It is an act of chiseling. The removal of that piece does not shatter the sculpture. On the contrary, it reveals more of its true underlying form. This is why this process is not just about healing, it is a fundamental transformation. You are not just patching a hole that they left. You are revealing a stronger, more authentic version of yourself that was always there, waiting to be uncovered. As you commit to this project of self-reclamation, a crucial shift in your mindset occurs. You will stop defining yourself by the person who left. Your identity is no longer the person who was rejected by X. Your identity becomes the person who is learning a new language, or the person who is getting physically stronger, or the person who is dedicating themselves to their career. And you start becoming someone worth staying for, not for their benefit, but for your own. This brings us to the concept of revenge. The source material states that the greatest revenge is becoming the best version of yourself. Let's refine this from a Stoic perspective. The goal is not to make them regret their decision, because seeking that outcome still ties your emotional state to them. The true Stoic revenge is to improve yourself so profoundly that their departure becomes an insignificant and irrelevant footnote in the far more interesting story of your life. The focus shifts entirely from proving them wrong to proving yourself right. This is the most powerful message you can possibly send, and you send it without speaking a single word. Those who left may eventually notice your transformation. But the truly beautiful part is this: by the time they do, their validation will no longer be something you need or even desire. Your focus has permanently shifted from what was lost to what you are becoming, and that is where your real, untouchable power is found. With your internal foundation of acceptance established and your project of self-rebuilding underway, we now turn our focus to your external response, or more accurately, your deliberate and strategic non-response. This is where you learn to wield the most misunderstood but powerful tools in the Stoic arsenal: emotional control, dignified silence, and true indifference. The first tool is emotional control. Consider this fundamental truth. Every time you react emotionally to someone else's actions, you are handing them control over your internal state. The Stoics, particularly Marcus Aurelius, asserted that our true power is not found in controlling external events, which is impossible, but in mastering our mind's response to them. The powerful urge you feel to lash out, to demand closure, or to chase them is a clear sign that you have surrendered this internal control. To be clear, emotional control is not the same as emotional suppression. You are not pretending you don't feel pain, anger, or sadness. That is simply denial. Stoic emotional control is a form of discipline. It is the developed ability to feel the powerful pull of these emotions, but to consciously choose not to act on them. It is the decision to be the mountain, unshaken by the violent winds of their silence and rejection. When you can master this discipline, you fundamentally shift the power dynamic. They may expect you to cry, to beg, or to chase. When you respond instead with unshakable calm and self-respect, you become unpredictable and unforgettable. The second tool is dignified silence. What is more powerful than 1,000 desperate words? Silence. We have an impulse to over-explain, to argue our case, to make them understand how much they've hurt us. But begging and arguing rarely, if ever, change a person's heart or mind. Dignified silence, however, creates a vacuum. Your deliberate and calm absence makes people wonder. It forces them to confront the space that you once filled. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "If a man knows not which port he sails, no wind is favorable." If someone has chosen to leave the port of your life, pleading with them is a futile effort. The most powerful response is to let them feel the full and complete weight of your absence. If they should reach out to you, you respond not with desperation or excitement, but with calm civility. Your connection is like a candle flame. If you blow on it too hard with desperate words and frantic actions, you will extinguish it. But if you simply shield it with your silence and walk away with quiet dignity, the memory of its light leaves a lasting and profound impact. They will remember your silence long after any words have been forgotten. The third and most advanced tool is true indifference. This is the final stage of your non-response. The source text, citing Seneca, emphasizes the incredible power of indifference when faced with rejection or betrayal. This is not a cold, callous apathy. It is a peaceful and powerful acknowledgement that the actions and choices of other people do not and cannot define your fundamental worth. Practicing indifference means you are unaffected, not because you have become emotionless, but because your sense of self is no longer dependent on their approval or presence. Their actions are simply events that occur in the world, much like the weather. You can observe them, but you do not have to be soaked by them. This powerful mindset shift liberates you from the exhausting emotional drama and the constant, draining need for their validation. You will find just how freeing it is when you no longer require another person's approval to feel complete. Emotional control protects your inner peace. Dignified silence communicates your self-respect. And true indifference liberates you from their influence entirely. These are not tactics in a game to win them back. They are strategies in the far more important campaign of winning yourself back. Even after you have laid the foundation of acceptance, begun the project of rebuilding yourself, and mastered a calm exterior, there is often one final powerful hook that keeps you emotionally tethered to the past: the deep-seated desire for closure. We are conditioned by stories and society to believe that every narrative requires a clean ending. We wait for that one last conversation, a heartfelt apology, or a detailed explanation that will finally make sense of all the pain and allow us to move on. We put our healing on hold, waiting for someone else to give us permission to begin. But the source text we are analyzing states a profound and liberating truth. Closure isn't something they give to you, it's something you create for yourself. To wait for them to provide you with a neat, tidy conclusion to your shared story is to remain a willing prisoner of their timeline and their whim. It means your peace is still being held hostage in their hands. The Stoic approach demands that we abandon this dependency. Life is often messy, ambiguous, and unresolved. Not every story gets a clear ending, and demanding one from the universe is a recipe for frustration. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius emphasized the importance of avoiding arguments about what a good man should be, and instead to simply be one. The same wisdom applies directly to this situation. Stop waiting for the final conversation about what happened and why the chapter ended. Simply live as if the chapter is closed. You must consciously release the need for an apology or an explanation. Even if these things were offered, they would likely not provide the profound relief you imagine. The why behind their actions often matters far less than the what now for your own life. So how do you create your own closure? You must understand that closure is not a feeling that magically arrives. It is a conscious and deliberate decision. It is the moment you decide to move forward, regardless of any unanswered questions you may still have. It is the definitive act of putting down the pen and refusing to write another single sentence in a story that has already concluded. The source text uses the metaphor of a book. Think of your life as this book. This painful chapter may have ended abruptly, perhaps even mid-sentence. You have a choice. You can stare at that unfinished sentence forever, analyzing it, wishing it were different, and remaining stuck on that page. Or you can choose to turn the page and begin writing a new, more compelling chapter. The beauty and success of this next chapter are in no way dependent on the clarity or perfection of the last one. True and lasting peace is found only when you stop seeking closure from an external source, the other person, and begin cultivating it internally within yourself. This is the ultimate act of self-reliance. It is the realization that you are the sole author of your life story, and you hold the power to declare an ending and begin a new narrative at any moment you choose. This is the final liberation. When you grant yourself permission to move forward without their input, without their apology, and without their explanation, you sever the last emotional chain that binds you to them. You no longer need anything from them to be whole, to heal, or to be at peace. You are complete, entirely on your own. This act of self-closure is what paves the way for the ultimate state of Stoic strength. A life lived with such profound internal validation that the actions and opinions of others become truly and completely irrelevant. We have now journeyed through the entire process of Stoic transformation. We began with the initial agonizing pain of being ignored and dismantled, the futile strategies of chasing, begging, and blocking. From there, we laid the essential groundwork with the twin pillars of acceptance and detachment, learning to stop fighting reality and to reclaim control over our emotional state. We then turned that focus inward, embarking on the ultimate project of rebuilding our own identity and pursuing personal growth. We learned to wield the unspoken power of emotional control, dignified silence, and true indifference as our response to the outside world. And finally, we severed the last emotional chain by learning to create our own closure, freeing ourselves from the need for any apology or explanation. All of these steps, all of this difficult internal work, leads to one ultimate destination. This is the true goal of Stoic strength, the state of being that this entire journey is designed to achieve, a life where you are truly and completely unaffected. To be unaffected does not mean you become a cold or numb person, devoid of feeling. On the contrary, it means you have the capacity to feel everything: love, joy, sadness, disappointment. But you have built an inner citadel that is no longer disturbed or controlled by these external events. It is a state of profound inner peace that is not dependent on favorable conditions. Your happiness is no longer contingent on another person's presence, and your peace is no longer shattered by their absence. This is a life where your center of gravity is located firmly and permanently within yourself. You no longer look to others for validation, for approval, or for a sense of completeness, because you have cultivated these things internally. As the source text concludes, when you achieve this state, you will see just how freeing it is when you no longer need others' approval to feel complete. Your worth is no longer a question to be answered by others. It is a known fact, established by you, for you. Think back to the person you were at the beginning of this process, the person staring at the phone, waiting, wondering, and hurting. That person's emotional state was a direct reaction to someone else's actions or inactions. Through the deliberate application of these Stoic principles, you have systematically reclaimed every piece of your power. The person who emerges from this process is fundamentally different. You no longer feel the need to convince anyone of anything because your strength speaks for itself. You stand firm in your own worth. You are no longer defined by the person who left, but by the incredible person you chose to become in their absence. This state of being is not a one-time achievement that, once reached, can be forgotten. It is a daily practice. It is an ongoing commitment to keep living with purpose, to stay calm and stay strong in the face of all of life's inevitable challenges. The pain you may be feeling right now is a powerful catalyst for this change. Do not waste it. Do not let it shrink you. Use it as the fuel to build this unshakable inner fortress. Remember the central lesson. True power is never found in chasing, begging, or blocking. It is found in the quiet dignity of your silence, in your unwavering commitment to your own growth, and in your ability to stand firm in your own worth, completely independent of anyone else. By doing this, you have regained control of your life. So keep moving forward. Let your future be a testament not to what you lost, but to the incredible strength you found when you were forced to stand on your own.